So, welcome to Dear Mima and Morgan. How
How
are
are
you
you?
guys doing today?
And Happy
Did
New
you
Year, right? This is our
Happy
first
New
our
Year?
first episode
That's
of the
right.
year. Happy New
Fir-
Year.
First episode of the year. Yes. Happy New
Yes.
Year. I hope that your New Year goes grand. We have been talking a lot about New Year's and stuff like that
Yeah.
because I don't believe in resolutions. So you need to go back and look at some of my other things where I talk about that. Um, might help you through the year. So I am Mima, and this is my daughter,
I'm Morgan.
and that's Morgan.
Yes.
And we do this podcast together. Not something I ever thought we'd do, but we started it a few months ago because people were requesting it. We take
Yeah.
letters that you write to us, and we do a podcast on the problems and issues and stuff that you're feeling.
Yes.
Uh, so here we are,
And I don't want to say the
and
best part, but the best part is that usually you're not the only one. So you're helping more than just you when you write in. Obviously, we don't want
exactly,
you guys all going through things, but it's helpful when you write in because someone else might need what
exactly.
you need.
If you are going through this, I can guarantee to you that other people are going through this.
For sure.
So what
For sure.
happens is people write me all the time on DMs
Hmm.
and messages and everything else. Um, and I can't respond to them all. First
It's too
off, it's really
much.
hard to see them
Yeah.
all.
It's too
They
much.
come in often, and I can't do a whole scenario on just what you've written. It would
Well,
it
and it's
would
so
be too
funky
time
with all these
consuming.
different inboxes now. Like, if you're not following people, it comes with like a different inbox,
Yeah,
and there's so many different
right,
ones to keep up with.
right.
It's so much.
So this is what we did. You write us a letter, DearMemawPodcast@gmail.com. Tell us what you're going through, and Morgan and I will do a whole podcast on it. And what's great about it, we don't use your name. Um, we don't call you out in any way. Only people that see the email is me and Morgan. So
Just
yeah,
us.
and we're not.
Just
I'm
the
not.
two of us.
And we're gonna help you. And we're gonna
Yeah.
talk about it. And I am not a therapist. I'm not any of those things.
I mean, you're pretty
Psycho
important though. You're still a Mima. That's pretty important.
uh, I am a person who's lived a lot of crap in my life, a lot. So, I think that maybe one of the reasons I've lived this crap is to help you guys live through your
To
crap.
pass on the wisdom.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
here I am. So today's is a big, big subject right now.
A heavy topic.
A heavy topic. So, our topic today, because I keep getting letters about them, and this is not the only letter that I've gotten. So, if this letter sounds familiar to you, we've taken a lot of different letters that we've gotten in this regard, and we're talking about it. And the subject today is the alienation of children and grandchildren. Um, when I do videos on this, and talks, about this, it's mind-blowing how many people are going through it.
Yeah, it really is. In the comments, me
I
too.
never
You're saying my story. This is
Yeah,
exactly what I'm dealing with.
and I never thought that when I first made the first video on alienation. I was super surprised at how many people were going through it, I'm not gonna
Right.
lie. Way more. And, how mm, how would you say that more? But the opinions are very
Yeah. Strong.
opinionated.
Strong, yes.
Strong, strong. I don't think I've ever been called so many names in my life.
And it's crazy because, like, you don't have to agree with me, but, like, you also don't have to be
Yeah,
disgusting about it either. Like,
yeah,
we can disagree and still be
yeah.
cool.
I have been called a lot of names during all this. I won't mention them, but it's crazy. Uh, I'm doing a talk on it. It's not like I don't know. It's crazy because they attack me. It's like I don't know if all their pain is coming out to attack me.
Right.
Um But we'll get into my story a little bit later, but let's talk about the letter we got. So I'm going to kick it over to Morgan and let her read the letter so you guys can hear exactly what we're working on today.
All right, guys, here we go. Hi, Mima. I've been alienated from both my children at different times. Without any reason to what I've said or done, I've tried everything to find out what happened. I've done everything for my children, for my grandson. When all you know is being a mom and a grandma and all your life, and to no longer having a purpose, it can destroy you. I'd like to know if you have any experience with anything like this with with one of your children, and if so, how did you handle it? Thanks for all your inspirational posts. They've gotten me through some difficult days. Elaine.
So, Elaine's pretty typical of what we hear. It seems to be children and then grandchildren, children and then grandchildren.
Yeah.
And I
Which I
think
think is
this
kind of
whole
the
thing,
cycle. I think it's like it starts with the children and then it
yeah.
moves to the grandchildren when they
And
come.
and let me start this before we even get into it. We are not talking about parents who have been abusive
Yes, no, nothing like
or
harsh.
nothing like that.
Right,
We're
right.
not talking about that. That is a
We're talking
whole
about
nother
things that can
discussion.
be fixed with a simple conversation.
Yes, we're that's what we're on today. So you guys
Things that
know
we have to
before you
communicate. Like communication can
right.
impact.
And we're talking about communication, Morgan, and talking about this subject. What happened to communication? I know you're half my age. What happened to communication?
I think a lot of avoidance happens in today's. We try to avoid the hard conversations because they make us feel uncomfortable.
And I understand that. I do understand that. But those hard conversations, then when you're done with the hard conversation, then you feel better.
You do. You always do. And I feel like it's never as bad as you anticipate it being. Like
I
you
agree.
know, you hype yourself up for it and you're like, man, this is gonna really suck. And then you get to it
Yeah,
and you're like, bro, I was sweating, I was hot, and it was
you're right.
a 2-second thing and it was
Right.
not even that serious. And that can save so much too. Just having that communication can save so many other problems from happening down the line.
Yeah. I just wish if I could tell the thousands of you out there, try to communicate.
Right.
But the
Have the hard
problem,
conversations.
yeah, when I say that is if only half the people that are in this
Right.
alienation want to talk, it's obviously doesn't work.
Right. Right. Both
It
sides
doesn't work.
have to
And I'm
participate.
not saying communication always helps because sometimes people aren't open to
No, and I think
listening.
sometimes, a lot of times, actually, people listen with the intent to respond and not the intent
Yes.
to
Yes.
understand. So I'm just worried about what I want to come back at you with, not really understanding and processing what it is you're telling to me.
So if you don't know or if you've never been around it, alienation is just where one person, typically an adult child, an adult kid, cuts off their parent. That's the typical scenario is an adult child and a parent. And when that adult child does the cutting off, one other typical thing is that they have kids. So the grandparent is cut off from the kids.
And
And
you guys,
again,
again, to reiterate, this is not abusive situations. This is literally things that I know we've seen things of comments like, well, did they communicate and yada yada. Okay, of course. Yes, we've tried. These are things have been tried. It's not like we're just jumping the gun on this and this is where we're at. It was a process to get to this point. And again, we're not talking about these relationships that involve things that we know are
bad.
abusive, beyond like,
Yeah.
yes.
So the thing that I've seen from the thousands of comments we've gotten on the different videos we've done is it seems to be a sudden thing, and the parent doesn't know exactly how this happened.
Right. I think it's really almost a buildup and then the straw that breaks the camel's back. And it could be something that maybe is not that big of a deal, but we've built up this things that we've never really had conversations about. So now we've got to this point where this little thing just,
Blows it
breaks
up.
it and
Yeah,
snaps it.
blows it
And
up.
then it's like beyond a conversation because you didn't have these 10 conversations that should have happened before we got to this point.
Exactly, exactly. And so it may seem sudden to the parent, but it
Right. And
doesn't
very much,
seem
I
sudden.
don't know because if there was never a conversation, I don't
Yeah.
know. If you don't communicate your issues, I guess,
And
to
and
me,
that's the
you won't
thing in
know.
life. If we're doing something, like if I'm doing something that's really bothering Morgan, how do I know unless Morgan tells me?
I think even a lot in relationships, people want you to like read your mind. Like, really, like I
Exactly.
want you to know what to do without me telling you, but like, what? Like, say that out loud and say that makes sense. How can somebody do something for you when they don't know what you need? You have to
Yeah.
express it
Oh, what the
in some
problem
type
is.
of
And
way.
again, back to communication. And
Right.
and wow, we just need to. to do a whole series, Morgan, on
And
communication
communication and effective communication and the
and
benefits
and
of
and
effective commu
what it goes to. But in this instance,
You know, though,
grand
meanwhile, sometimes I feel like people might not want to have that conversation
why do you think that?
because, again, we're talking avoidance. I feel like a lot of I don't wanna say there's a lot of entitlement that happens
Yeah,
where people just kind of expect because I am this, it should be this. But I feel like until you have your own kids, you really can't know how that flow goes, like know how challenging parenting is and know how challenging these relationships are and like how important these different things are until you're
a parent. Yeah.
there, right? You can speak on it from outside, but I think it's different when you're going
Yeah.
through it and
It's
you
kinda
have
like
stuff with it.
when I'm talking about this, like that last talk I did about understanding, overstanding.
Mhm.
Um, it's hard to understand what somebody's going through if you have not been through it yourself. So people
Right.
judge, "Well, what'd
Well,
that
I think it's
grandparent do?"
easy
You know?
to tell people what to do when you don't have your own emotions. Like I could tell you what to do
Yeah.
because I'm not emotionally invested in the situation the way you're emotionally invested in the
Right.
situation. So
Right,
for
right,
me to be like, "Oh, forget that person," is easy, but obviously you've had history, you have a relationship, you have all this
right.
experience with this person. So to just say, "Well, cut that person off," is obviously not going to be
And the generalizations that I get in my comments on, well, the grandparent, the parent must have done something. That's a big generalization. That's
But
a
even
big
still, we're
generalization.
not saying that that's not the case, but was it communicated? Was a
Yeah,
conversation happening? Was something engaged? Did somebody try to talk about that thing?
yeah,
Or this just happened and I didn't like it and I never spoke on it and now I'm cutting you off because I didn't like that. Okay, because that's kind of childish
yeah,
to just tell you what it is.
yeah. So let's talk about it for a little bit on the grief.
Okay.
There's strong grief because these loved ones, the grandchildren, the child, are still alive but
Right.
unreachable.
Well,
That's a
I've heard
weird kind
too.
of grief.
Nothing is like grieving somebody that's like still alive.
How do you even
Right.
explain that to somebody?
Right.
Because when we grieve somebody who's passed away, we have a support system helping us with that grief.
Well, not only that, I feel like it's I don't wanna say closure is not the right word, but you can't open that door, right? Like, if they're gone, they're dead,
Yeah,
I can't open that door. I can't have that conversation. I can't
right.
initiate that, but when they're alive, it's still so many what ifs, why, and, like, lack of, "I don't understand why this is this way. I don't understand." You're just
And the
trying to make
hope.
up answers to
Yeah,
yourself because you don't
yeah.
have an
Because
explanation.
you hope that in the future you'll be able to have a relationship with this child,
Right.
but when somebody's passed, obviously you can't
You can't, right,
anymore.
there's nothing that
So,
door is kind of just, like, shut.
yeah, I don't know if our society even, quote, unquote, gives permission for these grandparents and parents to grieve. How do you grieve something like that? And the whole thing is your identity as a grandparent is kind of formatted around that grandchild.
Right.
And when that
Not your
is just
purpose, but it really is your purpose. I
it
mean,
is your
after you're a
purpose.
parent, it is your purpose. I'm a
It is your
grandparent, that's
purpose.
my purpose.
Grandkids are the best thing ever invented. I'm not kidding. I tell my kids that all the time. I tell them, "Sorry, but those grandkids come first." You
Mhm.
know,
And we
if we
always
were
say, like, I don't know, my generation, we're always like, "Bro, my parents would have never let me do half the crap they be letting my their grandkids do." Like,
exactly.
it's funny. It is funny.
Yeah. Um, so if you haven't noticed in my last talks, I have something like this going on in my own life, and so I know it from both sides. I know it from being the grieving grandparent.
Yeah.
Okay, um, and the confusion is unreal, and the thoughts are unreal.
Well, Mima, I think too, without that communication, we kind of like connect dots ourselves and we kind of create
True.
narratives ourselves based off of how we're feeling. And so then sometimes I think we get very invested in these narratives that we created that we think that that's reality when a conversation could really show you that that's not reality.
That's true, that's true, and I wanna ask, and you can answer in the comments or not, how many of you grandparents out there have tried reaching out to this parent?
Right.
Even if you were wrong or not wrong on why this occurred, or you have no idea, how
Right.
many of you have tried to reach out to
Right.
those children and gotten 0 response, gotten crickets, gotten silence?
Right.
So what are you supposed to do? Back to our communication. What are you supposed to
Right.
do? You're learning to live without answers.
Right. Or like I said, create your own because what are you left to do? I mean, you have to
Yeah.
put the dots together yourself.
Yeah. Exactly, exactly. Um And again, I just want to reiterate for before you write a mean message, we're
Right.
not talking about this is not the same as healthy
This is
boundaries.
not
This
no.
is not about the safety of the grandchildren.
No. This is
This
lack
is
of
not about
communication.
uh
Really.
proving somebody was a bad parent or a bad
Right.
grandparent. And it can't be explain it can't be resolved by someone explaining themselves harder.
Right.
I mean, people feel what they want to feel.
Well, that's the thing is I feel like it's always like a competition, like I had it worse or you had it worse, but like you're allowed to feel how you feel. And like it's not a competition of who had it the worst. It sucks for everybody
Yeah.
around.
But what I would like to, put in here is that the people that are hurting the worst, I believe, my opinion, in this whole thing is these grandchildren that will not know their grandparents, because that is a special relationship. My grandparents were my best people in my world growing up.
Well, and I think it
Um,
gets really confusing too when they have played a part and then the grandparent is not there. So
yeah,
like, you know.
yeah, and I don't know if parents are considering that as much as they should. Because
I
you have a
think
beef doesn't mean your children does do.
right, I think too I don't know. I don't know. It's hard as a parent because I feel like a lot of the generation is like, well, the parent needs to fix it. Well, the parent needs to fix it. Okay, but we're adults. Like, I understand you're my kid, but we're adults. So we can have an adult conversation. And like, why is it fair to the parent to keep dragging themselves through this because they're the parent, because they need to fix it? That just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I think that it needs to be both ways. Like, it can't just be
Exactly.
the parent's responsibility. Okay, but that
And
doesn't
one
make
thing one thing, I don't know, I've just seen too, Morgan, is a lot of times the adult child, feels like they're the martyr saving the day, and painting the grandparent as of such a bad person. "I'm the martyr saving the day, my children from this and that." And no, they are feeling something inside, and they are mad at their parent for
yeah,
whatever reason it may be. But if that grandchild still has a relationship with the grandparent,
right.
you can't take that away from them. That's a whole different relationship than the relationship they have.
Yeah, it is.
And you can disagree with me on that, but I thoroughly believe that, you
No, and
know?
I kind of, not to get too deep, but kind of felt that with my own kids and one of their grandparents. So,
Yeah,
you know, it kind of where, yes, that door was closed with us, but then there was also no effort to even have a relationship
yeah.
with the kids after that. So, yeah, I think
And there's a
that, I don't know, it's hard. It's such a big,
it is a big, and there's so many reasons why this might happen. But the reason I wanna talk about for a little bit is when the adult child gets a new person in their life, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, whatever, maybe, so significant other, wife, husband. I see probably 60% of the comments you guys tell me is a situation where that happened. And the new person in the life doesn't care for the grandparent for whatever reason,
right,
and they're
decides to
the
be
ones that put this block there. So it was not exactly something that a grandparent did. It was a block put on in there by the new person.
well, you know what is so crazy with that is my husband and I, we were just watching a show last night on Netflix. And I don't it's some influencer, I don't know. This lady had like let this lady influence her to the point that she had like, I don't know, she was abusing her kids, basically, is long story short. And it's crazy how much people can come into our lives and influence the decisions we make without us even realizing it. Like, because you start to trust these people and I trust your input and they start influencing you and you start making decisions, not even really realizing, like, are these the decisions I want to make? Are these the decisions that this person is kind of like putting into my ear to make these
And it's
decisions?
almost maybe this phrase is too much, but it's almost like being brainwashed, you know?
Yeah, I don't know, and, like, I don't know. I feel like parenting is hard because I mean, for so many reasons, parenting is hard, let's be real. But parenting is hard because, like you said, sometimes it's like you have to put your own feelings aside because it's not
Exactly, exactly.
in some situations, it's about the kids, it's not about you, and that
Yeah,
sucks. Not always be about you, but that's reality that it's not always about you, so sometimes we have to think from a mind frame of, "Okay, let me take my emotions out of this
yeah. And
and
if
look at
they
this
could, it would
situation."
be great.
Right.
Both ways, both ways. And I do find that a lot of times the alienation is done for spite. I'm gonna
Yeah.
hurt you. I'm gonna hurt you, and by taking my kids away from you, the grandparent, that hurts you more than anything possibly could in your life.
And there's really nothing you can do about it. I mean,
No, there's
well, there's
absolutely
nothing
nothing
you
you
can
can
do
do
about
about
it.
it.
Right.
And
But it
imagine the
also it sucks. I don't know. I don't like don't use kids as pawns. I'm sorry.
yeah,
Please don't. Don't use kids as pawns. Like, these kids are so innocent and they don't have a freaking clue. Like, please
yeah.
do not use your kid as a pawn. And it's not again, this is not speaking on you saving your kid from a situation that they needed to be saved from. But this is taking your kid love, I guess you could say, out of your kid's life because you can't have an adult conversation to figure out your own emotions.
Well, I think the thing is too, Morgan, they're so pressured by this new person in their life that they're going to go with what they say no matter what. Whether the truth is twisted so far up, no matter what it is, that's what they're going to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that the majority of situations that I have seen, I've been told by you guys in comments, is that situation.
Yeah.
I don't have an answer. That's what's sad
And I
about
think
this
the
whole
lane
thing.
that's like you just got to I mean, if you tried, if you tried to have the conversation with your son, that's
Yeah.
I don't know. I know it saying that you just kind of have to let it go is like not it's a shitty feeling. I'm just
No, you
saying what it
can't
is.
just
It's
let
a
it
shitty
go.
feeling. You can't just let it
And
go.
And
So,
what I said in the talk I did the other day was, it hits you at night when it's
yeah,
quiet. You can't just ever let it go,
right.
ever, ever. But
It's gonna
I
come
need to
back.
tell you, Elaine, you are not alone. You are so not alone. I am flabbergasted by the amount of people going through this.
Yeah.
Just overwhelmed. And the grief is real and the grief is
Yeah.
valid.
And it's
And
interesting how many people have not had conversations, like
yeah,
they don't even know why such and such situation happened. And this is not again, people oblivious like, "Oh, I know that I what the hell I did, but I'm gonna play like I don't know what I did." No, if you know what you
yeah,
did, you know what you did. Apologize, own up to it, whatever, whatever. But like genuinely, like I said, it could be things that stacked on top of each other, and then this little stupid thing broke it, and so you're
right.
really like, "That wasn't that serious. Why are we here off of that situation that wasn't that serious?"
Yeah. And another thing I see in the comments too is people making blame. And I just have to throw this out there. The adult children are kind of mean to me. They're like really mean to me. And I'd like to put a disclaimer in here too is I had toxic parents. I lived it. So you're being mean to me is kind of
Right,
mind blowing, okay?
right,
I am you. I'm
right,
living the other side right now, but I am you.
right.
So don't do that.
Well, and I
But
think first of all, I think, internet bullies are very real, but I think
yeah.
that I don't know, I think that it's easy for people to, I guess, think they know a situation and attack people than it is to try to understand where somebody is coming from and what they're really feeling and why they're feeling this way. It's easy for me to
Yeah.
just say, "Well, you did it," but like, bro, I didn't even say that much. How do you even know that this is about me?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just talking because this was on my heart today. Like, but
Yeah.
people are
And
people.
it makes me wonder, Morgan, what is it with the new person in, your adult child's life that makes them jealous? Or what of the relationship or the closeness that the adult child has with their
Right.
parent or that the little kids have with their grandparent?
Right.
I
Right. Well,
mean,
of
do you
course, and
think it's jealousy? What
I don't deal with that, obviously. I'm married to my husband, and all of our kids are our kids. But I
yeah,
can imagine that that is a sticky slope when your kids are involved, you know? Like, not that it would be different if we didn't have grandkids, but for me to keep my person away from their family or whatever without kids is one situation, but to do it then with the kid, like, you have to be very you have to do your be thorough with who you bring into your kids' lives,
Yeah.
just to put it flat out.
I
Like,
can't even,
you have to make sure the
reiterate
people
that enough.
right, the people that you bring into your kid's life have your kid's best interest in mind,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
sometimes it's not about you. So,
Yeah. And,
like,
I
are
hear these
they like you said,
comments.
Mima, are they feeling jealous? Are they really
I don't
thinking
know.
about how this is going to impact my children, you know? Like, what really is it?
Yeah. And what's crazy, what you mentioned earlier, Morgan, and we're making a big circle here, is you're letting sometimes, many times, a person in your life that doesn't have children, but you do, and you're allowing them to tell you how
Right,
to raise your children.
right.
They're not even the mom or the dad, and you're letting them do
Which
that.
is, like,
How
actually
do
kind of
you do
offensive
that?
because no. Like, I don't know how else to say it, but no. Like,
Yeah.
no.
And
Why do
isn't
you
that
think that you
crazy
can
though when you
parent
think
your
about it?
kid parent my kids better than I can parent my kids? No.
Yeah.
Like,
And
no.
I just want to throw this out there as a little aside, but I hear all the time too in the comments from the adult children saying, "You raised them, you did this, you know, if they're like this, it's because of something you did," which is
You
the
know,
most.
though, with that, meanwhile, I feel like you see these kids that are raised in these two-parent homes, all the money in the world,
Yeah.
doesn't matter, and still grow up, and you see them.
Yeah.
So that's not really an indication either.
No, it's
So,
not. It's just crazy, that's one
right.
thing I wanted to say, but um in my opinion, alienation causes long-term damage, and the person that it damages the worst is those grandkids.
I think it's just very confusing for kids too. And I think that a lot of the times you try to not involve your kids in situations, you know? So you kind of just make decisions for them. So they really are not involved in the process. And to them, it's like you just took my favorite person in the world away and I don't get it. And now you're saying they're not a good person, but they just got me candy or they just took me to dinner yesterday or
Yeah.
they just bought me my favorite stuffy
Exactly.
yesterday.
And
Right,
that's what happened. That's what happened in my instance. One day everything was hunky dory, and the next day they were gone.
right.
They were gone. How do you think that makes the kids feel, the grandkids feel?
It's very confusing, right? Well, it's confusing and it gives the impression that I don't know, that like people aren't
That
safe,
people are expendable.
that they're not safe, right? That
Yeah.
like it doesn't matter, I guess, how much I love you or like trust you, like you can just kind of dip out.
Yeah. And
Like, oh,
imagine trying to have a relationship as that person when they grow up. I'm afraid to love you because you might just disappear.
right, right. No, it is definitely that's something that's going to play into other relationships that they have where they're going to have
So
like these
please,
boundaries almost
yeah,
like I don't want to let you two in because
exactly.
who knows.
And then how do you trust them, little kids? How do you trust your parent that you didn't help bring
Yeah.
grandma and grandpa back in my life? What happened? Why didn't you help me? Because they don't know the whole scenario. They don't know what's happened.
Right. And again, like you said at one point, it happened to the adult child. It didn't happen directly to
Yeah.
the
The
grand.
the Let's just get this clear. In every situation, the grandchild probably wasn't making the decision to cut off the grandparents.
No, they were just part of the decision,
A
I guess,
decision
process,
made.
part of the process. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, for lack of a better phrase, term, whatever you want to call it.
And I'm gonna tell you that every action I've told you guys growing up, every action has a consequence,
Ooh, I tell
good
this to my
or
kids
bad.
all the time,
I
Mima.
have told you
Literally
guys
those exact words.
thousands of times. Everything you do is going to have a reaction
Might be a good
and a
reaction, it might be a
consequence.
bad reaction, but it's a reaction
But
either
let
way.
me tell you this. Let me tell you this. Parents, adult parents, adult kids, you don't get to create the damage and then assign the guilt. That's a strong. But I want you to know, Elaine, being cut off does not mean you're unlovable.
Yeah. You know, and I
I don't.
think that I don't want to say we need to be understanding, but everybody is going through their own battles. So we
Yep.
don't know what everybody is going through. And I think that just because you're the parent, you can't be expected to just fix the problem. I mean, like if the effort was there for you to fix the problem, I don't know, like, are you supposed to just stop your life?
Well, that's
Because
the thing, Morgan, as
I
I've
don't
told
know.
you in the situation I have reached out. I have reached out.
Right, right.
And what are you supposed to do? Walk to their house on
On
bended
nails, barefoot?
knees? Yeah.
Right, like, I
And
don't
cut your
know.
arm off in front of them and show you, "This is how much I
Right.
am sorry."
And
Like, if
sometimes you even
you
ask them, like, "What can I do?" And they don't even have an answer for you, so it's like, what am I
Yeah,
supposed to do? Like, where am I supposed to start?
yeah.
And maybe
So
sometimes
this
they don't
is
want the relationship fixed. I don't know. But
Yeah,
again,
I agree with that.
communicate that.
And,
Communicate it.
this isn't a subject that's fixable right now. It's gonna
Right.
take talks and time and changes of attitudes, and I
Right.
don't know, and it's sad to say because I always try to solve the problems. I
Right.
don't know if we can do anything about this one.
Yeah. I think you have to fight until there's no fight left, but I don't think that it's fair for you to, like, I don't wanna say involve your whole life around this, but, you still have things, you still have bills to pay, you still
Yeah,
have things that need you still have groceries that need to you have dinner to make, like, you still have your own things going on, so for that child to expect just because you're the parent that you need to stop all your shit to fix this, I think is a little unrealistic
yeah.
too,
I
so
agree, I agree. And I wanna close with this, something for you to think about in our lifetime. Some losses in our life aren't chosen, they're just endured.
yeah.
Sucks,
It
but
sucks, and sometimes I know it just is what it is, but
yeah,
there's some situations in life that it really just fucking I'm sorry, my cussing, but it just is what it is.
yeah.
It
So,
is what it is.
there's
And
no answer.
I always tell you, Mima, that there will be a time when children are old enough to understand and they will be able to make decisions on their own. So whether it's the grandchildren, whatever, there'll be a time where they get to an age where they can understand, like, they're hip to it, this is what's happening and this what happened. And one, I'm cool
And
with
they'll
that, or
ask the
people are not cool with
grandparents,
that, or I'll ask right, where they can ask questions and they can understand situations and
right?
they can make decisions themselves of whether, okay, that was enough for me to cut that person off,
Right,
or that's ridiculous and I wanna have a relationship with that person.
right. And
So,
you know what? I'm looking for that day. I'll
yeah,
wait for that day. I'll
yeah,
wait for
and
the
I
day.
hope that, Aileen, you can find peace in that,
Yes.
you fought until you couldn't fight anymore, and just, I mean, have faith that someday, hopefully, I don't know, that it'll come back around, but
Yeah.
I don't wanna say invest your life waiting on that either, because one thing I've learned, I lost somebody very important in my life last year. One thing I've learned is life goes on, and that's shitty to say, but, like,
Yes.
your whole world can stop, but guess what? The bills keep coming, okay?
Yep.
The
I
lights
still
still
have
need
to
to
live
be
my
shut
life.
on. We still need to cook dinner for our kids, so it could be the shittiest thing in the world, but life still goes on. So
I
you can
agree.
fight until you can't fight, and then you
Yep.
just gotta
And
keep
again,
moving.
Morgan, this won't be the last time we talk about this. This is a subject
Yeah.
that I keep getting more and more and more and more responses on.
And you
So
guys
we'll
get
talk
feisty
about it.
about in the comments, so it's
Yeah.
interesting to see too how
Yeah.
how relatable, I guess, it is,
Yeah.
because you think when you're going through things, like, "I'm the only person dealing with this," and then
Yeah.
you see these
You're
posts
not.
and you see, like, you guys are not alone, like, in any
Yeah.
situation in your life,
You're
maybe
not.
physically you're alone, but you're not the only person dealing with that
Yeah.
problem, so
So we're going to close this up here. We enjoy that you have spent your time with us. We
right.
appreciate it more than you can ever imagine.
Yeah.
If you're listening to us on Amazon, Spotify, or Apple, please think about going ahead and finding us on YouTube or one of the other social medias. We're on all of them
Yes.
because of the fact that you can see us
Yes.
and
And we
the
have things
fact that,
launching, so you guys wanna be everywhere because
yeah,
we got some things in the works, you don't wanna
and
miss
not
it.
I have thousands, maybe not thousands, Morgan, hundreds
Hundreds for
of
sure.
speeches
Hundreds for sure.
that you probably would enjoy listening to that aren't on the podcast on those
Yeah.
sites. So
Yeah.
find us on something else. If you find us, as Morgan says, this is Morgan's quote, if you find us on one, you're going to find us on
Find
them
us out.
all.
Yes, we're
Yeah. So it depends on
in
what
the
you like.
bio.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have a lot. I'm going to tell you that if I was going to choose one, I'd choose Facebook because we're doing a lot of fun
Yeah, some things
activities
on
on
there.
Facebook.
And we are trying to get the things organized. So, like, if you're, like, having a day and you're like, "Bro, I need some pep talks." Go to the pep talks and you can let the pep talks
Yeah.
play, or I need a day where I don't know, whatever you need. We have them organized, growth, the hard
Yeah.
conversations, whatever you need for that day. So you can sit
I'd
there
go to
and
Facebook for the talks and the
yeah,
activities we do, and I'd go to YouTube for the podcasts.
yeah.
So, all
Ah,
right, we're gonna close it up here. Thank
wrap
you
it up.
again,
Yeah,
and looking forward to talking to you on the next subject. Please send
yeah,
your letters to dearmemawpodcast at gmail
at
dot
gmail
com,
dot com.
and we will respond to you.
Yeah.
And, thank you.
Until next time, it's Mima out, Morgan out.